Up YouTube, Mr. Kinconi live from the studio. Not from the studio, from the classroom today. Here is what we're going to learn. You're going to learn all of these things. Yes, all of them. If you understand this lesson. That's right. Today is going to be one of the most important lessons I'll ever teach on this channel, and one of the most important lessons in science that you'll ever learn. It is going to be how to convert units. So while you're watching this video, could you set up your notes like this? On the left side, have your question. On the right, put the answer. And if it has a star, that means it's important enough to write it down. Okay? Let's get started, shall we? So today you're going to learn what I learned in high school, how to convert units using what I call the train track method. So step one, please write in your notes, draw train tracks like this. Okay? I know they don't look perfectly like train tracks, but they're close enough for me to call it by that name. And these train tracks, they can get shorter or longer depending on the problem, but this is always the template I start with. Okay, please pause the video now and get that. Next, we're going to go through a sample question together. So could you write step 2, you put the numbers and the units you are given in the top left corner. Okay, so for example, if I want to know how many seconds are in 1.5 hours, 1.5 hours is around the length of this class. So you're going to find out if you were counting, how much would you have to count to before the class is over, roughly. Okay, so that's where you're going to learn for the start. So you're going to start with 1.5 hours in the top left. That's always the beginning. You put your number in the top left and then the units. Okay, so that's step 2. Step 3 is when it starts getting a little trickier. You cancel the units by matching the unit diagonally. Okay, so since we have 1.5 hours, we need to match the word hours diagonally. So we put 1 hour here. Okay, and remember, I'm trying to get how many seconds are in 1.5 hours. So what do you think should go above 1 hour here? Please pause the video and think to yourself, what could go there? Hopefully you did not put seconds. Usually you may think, I'm trying to get seconds, but not yet. Put 60 minutes there. Okay, the reason is because 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So whichever one's on the top and the bottom, if they're both top and bottom, they have to equal each other. So for every hour, you have 60 minutes. Okay? So right now, step 3 was cancel the units by matching the unit diagonally. And then once you match them, you cross them out. That's to show now we're left with minutes. So if we stopped right here, we would know how many minutes are in a classroom. But we don't want that, we want seconds. Okay, so we have to keep going. So please guess what should go here then. What should go here? Remember, it cancels out diagonally. So hopefully you guessed right. You are supposed to continue step 4, continue to cancel units diagonally until you're left with the unit that you want. And that is important. You need to just keep going, crossing out things until you're finally left with the units that you want. Okay? So right now, the minutes will cancel out with each other, and we should only have seconds left. Okay? So the minutes will cancel out, and we'll be left with seconds in the top right. Okay? So that is step 4. You continue to cancel these units out until you're left with the one you want. Please pause the video now. Make sure you got that on your notes. Last thing, last step, step 5. Once you're left with the units you want, you multiply the top row by itself, and then the bottom row by itself, and then you divide. Okay? And I say in parentheses, so you don't get thrown off with the order of operations. Okay? And note, I included the ones here to make it make more sense, but if you multiply or divide by 1, it really won't change the answer. So, to do the problem, step 5 is you multiply all these numbers on top then you divide by these numbers on the bottom. Okay, so 1.5 times 60 times 60 divided by 1 times 1. That'll get us 5,400 seconds in 1.5 hours. So if you're really bored in my class, didn't want to do anything, and you couldn't be on your, you could just count to 5,400. And then by the time you're up there, class would be done. Okay? Fun fact for you. So that's a simple conversion. You may have been able to do that without the train track method, but as these get more complicated, like with my next question, you'll see how it can be useful with train tracks. Okay? So here's my sample problem number 1. In years, how much of my life will be a dream if I live to be 90 years old? Okay? Note, every night you dream intensely for 45 minutes. So I'm really just curious about the dreams that really feel real. And experts say those dreams that really feel real, you only get around 45 minutes of those per night. So knowing that, how much of your life will feel like it's in a dream? We're going to learn that today. And this one will be a little bit harder to do with brute force. So we're going to use the train track method again. You don't have to copy down the steps unless you didn't in the last question. Please pause video now. Try and figure out where should you start. Okay? This can trick a lot of students. I gave you 2 different numbers here, 45 minutes and 90 years old. But the note I gave you was the conversion. You know your lifetime is roughly 90 years. So we're going to start with that number, your lifetime. Okay? So we're going to start with 90 years in the top left. Okay? So that was step 2. Now we know our starting point. Please pause video now and guess what should go here. What unit should go here? And remember, we're trying to get how much of your life will be a dream. Okay? Hopefully you put for 90 years, you converted it to 1 year to 365 days. So if we stopped here and you were curious, you could see how many days you'll have in your lifetime, roughly. 90 times 365. But that's not what I asked you. I wanted you to figure out how much of your life will be a dream. So we have to keep going. And that's step 3. So you cancel the units by matching them diagonally. So please guess what unit should go here then? And then what should go on top of it? Hint, you have to use my note. Okay? So if you're going to live to be 90 and you have 365 days a year, and if you dream 45 minutes per day, then every day that you have in your life, you'll have 45 minutes of dreaming. Okay? So if we stopped here, these will cancel out. Okay? The years would cancel out, the days would cancel out. And right now, I would know how much of my life will be a dream, but it'll be in minutes. And that might be hard to kind of picture. If I tell you how much of your life will be a dream, if it's in minutes, it'll be a big number, but you won't really be able to picture what that is. So we have to keep going. I asked you in years, how much of your life will be a dream. So we have to take this 45 minutes of dreaming and turn it into years. So we're going to need more space in your notes. Oh, I went a little bit fast, and I did the rest of the steps for you. So to cancel out 45 minutes of dreaming, 60 minutes and 1 hour. That'll tell you how many hours of your life is a dream, and then you can turn the hours, 24 hours in a day, to days of your dream, how many days of your life will be a dream, and then 365 days in a year. That will finally end up telling us how much of our life is a dream. So there's my work. This was a complicated one. It took me a while to figure out. So don't worry if you didn't get it right away. This is more of a mastery level. This will tell you you converted how much of your life is a dream in minutes, and then you converted again to that time into years. So now we know what portion of our life is completely in a dream. Okay. If you multiply them all out, so remember step 5 was multiply them all out, multiply the top row divided by the bottom row. Okay? Parentheses just to keep track. You don't have to include the ones, but I did. just to make it make more sense. So 90 times 365 times 45 times the ones divided by the ones times 60 times 24 times 365. And at the end, 2.8125 years of your life will feel like you're completely in a dream. You will be in a dream. So that's how much of our life will be in a dream, an intense dream. Okay, that was a complicated one. Now, these ones, I'm going to expect you to do by yourself. If you get stuck, refer back to the steps. Okay? So please pause the video now, read this question, and then look at the answer. Okay? How many centimeters are in 1 mile? And you'll need this conversion to help you if you don't know it already. Hopefully you know centimeters are small, miles really long, so the answer will be really big. And you would be right. So you start with a mile, you cancel out with a mile on the bottom, and then 1 mile equals 1,600 meters. And then to cancel out the meters, you put 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. And centimeters is what we want. So we're done with that, filling out the tracks. So you multiply the top and then divide by the bottom, and you'll get 160,000 centimeters in a mile. Okay. Next, sample problem number 3. At Raising Cane's, new Raising Cane's in Stockton, I saw the ad, you'll make $15 an hour. Okay, so this one's a little different. So I gave you the starting point again. If it's $15 per something or the division symbol, you put the top unit up here and the bottom unit down here. Okay? Your job is to figure out, based on your starting wage per hour, how much is your salary? Or how much will you make in 1 year? Note, you're not going to be working 24/7. So you're going to have to use the average working full-time schedule. So if you work full-time, you're working 40 hours a week and 50 weeks in a year. Please try and do the math, fill out the tracks, and you should end with dollars on top and years on the bottom to figure out how much money you'll make in 1 year. Okay? Please pause the video now and try and do it. Hint, the next one should be 40 hours a week. Okay? Because that's how much you work in a week. So this will tell you how much money you make a week. And this is before taxes, of course. And the next one, 50 weeks in a year, then you'll be left with dollars on top, year on the bottom, and you'll multiply it on the top and then divide by the bottom. You'll get $30,000 a year. Minimum wage, that's your salary if you're working full time. Okay? Next one, I'm not going to give you the starting point. Okay, it's up to you. Try and figure this one out yourself. I know I'm a teacher. Just assume I work as much as the average worker. Full time, 40 hours a week, 50 weeks in a year. Okay? Just assume that. I know my hours are a little different, but just assume I work typically like a normal worker. Okay? Please pause the video now. Try and figure out how much, if you have my salary, 53 grand a year, how much do I make per hour? So you can compare it to the minimum wage worker. Okay? Hopefully you noticed. It's very similar to the last one, but the opposite. So you do 53,000 per year, and then you cancel out the years, and then you cancel out the weeks, and you're left with $26.5 per hour. So a bit, almost double of what a minimum wage worker makes. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, just a fun one. Elon Musk makes $6.7 billion every year as of 2020. How much does he make every second? Every second that he's working. I don't know how much he works, so we're just going to compare it to the average worker. Let's say Elon's working 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year. How much does he make every second that he works? Try and figure it out. Okay? This is going to be a big one with bigger numbers, so get ready for that. Okay? But if you got it right without my help, you're doing great. Please pause the video now and try it yourself. Okay? Hopefully you know you start with 6.7 billion on top and then per year on the bottom, and they keep going until you get seconds. Okay, this is going to be a big one, as you would have guessed. So you start with his salary, 6.7 billion per year. We want to keep the dollar sign. We're just going to be doing a lot of dividing to get the seconds. So if he works 50 weeks per year, the 1 year goes on top to cancel out with that one, and then 50 weeks on the bottom. And then every week he's working 40 hours, and then every hour is 60 minutes, and then every minute is 60 seconds. Okay? So if you double check, cross out all the ones you did diagonally, you'll be left with dollar signs on top and seconds on the bottom. And at the very end, I didn't include the ones this time. 6.7 billion divided by 50 weeks times 40 hours times 60 minutes times 60 seconds. Every second that Elon works, he is making $933. Okay? Just to put this in perspective for you, that's almost $1,000 every second he's working. So after a minute, he'll make more than I made the whole year. And after 30 seconds, he'll make more than what the average minimum wage worker makes, which is why a lot of people hate Elon or billionaires, because it's really unequal. He makes more than me in 1 minute. Okay? That was just a fun fact to put in perspective for you. He's making almost 1,000 every second. Okay. Last one. This one, if you can do this one by yourself, you're the master at unit conversions. If you can't do it by yourself, you need more practice. Okay? In Japan, cars are not in miles per hour. So you need to convert their speedometers using math. Let's say the GDM Silvia goes 68 meters per second. What is its top speed in miles per hour? Okay, if you're going to bring this car to America, you need to figure out miles per hour. Okay, if you need help, look at the earlier problems that we've done and note 1,600 meters per mile. Okay, please try and figure this one out. Figure out the top speed in miles per hour. Good luck. This one's going to be harder. Okay, pause the video now. Try and do it yourself first, and then I'll show you the answer. Hint, this one's a little different too. You're going to have 68 meters on top and 1 second on the bottom because it's 68 meters per second. That's why I use this bottom one sometimes. Okay? Try and end up with miles on top and then hours on the bottom. Okay? Pause video now. Try and do it now. Okay. Hopefully you notice you have to pick which one you want to cancel out first. I canceled out the meters first, so I did 1,600 meters to cancel out with that one, and then equals 1 mile. So that one's good, and then I canceled out the seconds and then minutes to get hours. Okay? And if you cross them all out, you'll be left with miles on top and then hours on the bottom. Okay? And to figure out that car's top speed, multiply all the top numbers, then divide by all the bottom ones. And then you should end up with 153 miles per hour. Okay? Not super fast. The car is really known for good acceleration, not a really good top speed. Okay? But that's how you do it. That's why the train tracks are really helpful to keep track of all those units. Okay? Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with me the whole time. I hope you have a great day. I really appreciate you staying with me till the end. Bye.